Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, which we'll just be calling KOTOR, was made by the legendary developer BioWare, the masterminds behind Dragon Age and Mass Effect. It was released in 2003 for the Xbox. You can really see the BioWare DNA shining through in KOTOR if you know where to look. I was first introduced to BioWare's unique take on RPGs with Mass Effect. Then I went back and played Dragon Age. Now I'm going all the way back to where it began, KOTOR. I initially avoided KOTOR and Dragon Age for that matter because I wasn't a fan of the auto-attacking system, but I became comfortable with it in Dragon Age, so I decided to go back and give KOTOR a try. So come with me, friends, back to a day before BioWare created their own universes and instead acquired the Star Wars license. Come with me into the Old Republic. The Old Republic is a unique setting. It's far back enough that fresh, engaging, and galaxy-altering stories can be told. The story we get is one of galactic war. In this setting, the Sith command an army and an empire of their own. They are fighting the Republic, which is being led by an army of Jedi and loyal troopers. It really flips the traditional Star Wars setting on its head, with armies of Jedi battling Sith troopers and dark side Force users. You control a silent, self-insert protagonist who crash lands on a nearby planet after your ship gets attacked and boarded by the Sith. You and Karth are the only survivors of the crash, and together you need to find the Jedi leader, Bastila, and escape the planet before it's too late. Of course, that is only the beginning of a story that will have you hunting for MacGuffins across the galaxy, getting into space battles, and challenging the Sith for galactic supremacy. This story is epic, and it holds nothing back. It is one of those few video games that is really driven by the story more than anything else. Oh, and Yoda is in this.
4 planets, but it was incomplete.
Well, not exactly, but close enough. Maybe it's one of Yoda's ancestors or something. If the presence of our little green icon is not enough to sell you on KOTOR, then let's talk gameplay. Gameplay is classic BioWare, and it rests upon 3 main pillars. First, there are conversations where you roleplay and make decisions that decide the fate of characters and perhaps the entire galaxy, all while earning light side or dark side points. Then there is light exploration of the world around you, and I mean emphasis on light, since the only things you can interact with have little blue circles around them. Lastly, there is combat, which plays out with auto-attacking. KOTOR is like an earlier, more rudimentary form of the combat found in Dragon Age Origins, if you use a melee weapon. And believe me, you want to use a melee weapon because using blasters is like, I mean, come on, look at it. Does that look even remotely fun to you? At least in Dragon Age, you could connect with your target for varying amounts of damage, with actual misses being uncommon. Here, you and your enemies are both legally blind when carrying firearms, and so bad with a pistol that you couldn't get a concealed carry permit in Mississippi, a state where gun ownership is nearly a legal requirement. Do not use guns in KOTOR unless you are very patient and you enjoy inaccurately throwing pillows at enemies who rush at you with glowing death sticks. The king of melee weapons in Star Wars, or any other fantasy franchise for that matter, is and always will be the lightsaber. In KOTOR, however, vibroblades can defect lightsabers, so any random enemy can basically sword fight with your Jedi characters. This does kind of wreck the fantasy around using lightsabers, but the game can't be completely unbalanced in favor of Jedi, so I get it. And to be fair, Mando in The Mandalorian does use a Beskar spear that basically acts the same way, so it's not that much of a stretch. If you want to go against the grain, you can play as a scoundrel, or just a regular Republic soldier who uses rifles, dual blasters, or swords. I'm not sure why you would want to do that, but hey, at least you can. No options to play as a Twi'lek dancer though, which is a big missed opportunity if you ask me. Different party members also have different roles. Some can stealth, while others hack doors, chests, or disarm mines. Generally, you want to pick up a solid party of 3 and tweak their skills so that your party can do everything you need. For instance, if you're using a team of Jedi, you'd better teach one of them to hack, otherwise you're going to have problems progressing in the game. It's a Star Wars themed early draft of Dragon Age, And, somewhat surprisingly, it works very, very well. KOTOR spawned a franchise and an entire subgenre of role-playing games. It, along with Final Fantasy, can be partially credited for the explosion of popularity that RPGs have experienced in the West. KOTOR can be a bit clunky. Heck, it was BioWare's first crack at the formula. But it is a good game, and it is so much more than just the sum of its parts. The story, the voice acting, set pieces, and twists are all worthy of a full cinematic production. And the gameplay can be just as exciting. Even though KOTOR is no longer canon, the story it tells will be with those who experienced it forever. We have been blessed with some remarkable Star Wars games, but KOTOR is one of the best Star Wars games of all time.
No, please! Take my wife and children instead. Anything!